what I'm hearing is that, whilst having a GP is fantastic, and I'm not saying don't do that, I do feel that we need to take our own body, our own health, our own
Yes.
wellness into our own hands and educate ourselves and advocate for ourselves a lot more than we might think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are the experts in ourselves. And I think where the challenge lies is we've been so used to defaulting to someone who has a title
Mm.
as the expert, even though what they're an expert in is, it's general practice. It's not can you practice? It's not Danny practice. You know, so they only can operate from that general perspective. Now, a lot of the research that's been done in the past has, it's been based on men. Like the pharmaceutical research was all based on men because hormones are difficult.
Mm.
Even like when they do studies on rats and that, they used to just use male rats, even for
Wow.
female stuff, because female rats were too complicated, you know, and it's
What
only been
hope do
since
we have?
I know
Oh God.
1990s they had to include women. Now, if you think about
Wow.
it, man was on the moon in the 60s, and we didn't start including women in pharmaceutical studies until the 1990s.
This is outrageous.
I know, and that's
Oh
why
my
I think
God.
there is starting to be a real groundswell, particularly with our generations, because we're like, well, hang on a second, we're not putting up with this shit. And I
Yeah.
think once we get the groundwork right, then the
Yeah.
generations that come after us are going to be in really good stead.
Yeah. I love that so much. And it's like, because it's like, isn't it like a 10-year period? I heard somewhere that it's,
It
yeah.
can be either pretty much instant if you have surgical menopause,
Hmm.
and that might be, well, that's when you get your hysterectomy. Yeah, you get your hysterectomy, you get your womb removed, but whether or not you get your ovaries removed, you're still more likely to go into it much sooner.
Yeah.
Um, but for the rest of us, if you're one of the 80% that get symptoms, it could be from like 2 years to almost 20 in terms of the post-menopause period as well. So,
Wow.
yeah, I've been experiencing it since I had my second child, possibly since I had my first, but you can still get pregnant during perimenopause.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, and so I've
Noticed
been experiencing it
everyone.
for a long time. So I'm like, okay, is this ever going to end? And
Mm.
once you get your hot flushes, that's usually starting to get more towards the end of it.
Yeah.
God, I hope so anyway, because like I'm totally over it. But it's there's so much still to learn. There
Yeah.
really is.
And it's, gosh, even if it is 1 to 2 years, but even if it is up to 20 years, that is such a significant amount of your life.
Mm.
You've really got to take matters into your own hands and figure out how to live at your best during that time.
And not just during that time, because what's happening now is because our hormones are depleting, what we do now sets up our health and well-being for the future. So if we're not looking after
Mm.
our bone strength, if we're not looking after, our cognitive selves, those things decline really quickly once we get past that menopause phase.
Oh my
Um,
God. This must be the theme for the day. So I was just chatting to somebody else and I was like, so I've got I guess some aging people in my life, like my parents are in their
mhm,
70s. I was just on this holiday and I was hanging out with the in-laws they've got a grandma who's, 90s. And I'm looking at all of these people and I'm like, oh my God, I've really got to start looking after myself. Like, I really want to make sure when I'm 70, 80, 90, that I am mobile, that I'm strong, that I'm
yeah,
coherent, all of these things. But I'm like, it starts now. I can't
that's now.
wait until I'm 70 to start doing things to support myself. I've really got to start doing it now. So this is such a good, I'm so glad we're having this conversation because this is right the mindset that I'm in right now.
Well,
Uh,
then you would love. So when I do my menopause for Gen X and Y.
Yeah.
One of the first pictures I put up is of the Golden Girls.
Oh, I love it.
Now, would you believe, they were in their early 50s. We
Wow.
don't, 50 doesn't look like that now. But that's why
Mm.
I think a lot of us associate menopause with old age, because it
Yeah.
used to look really old.
Yeah.
But there was actually an episode where Blanche thought she was pregnant, but it turned out that she'd just gone over menopause. I'm like, oh, seriously? She just like instantly went over and there was nothing else. Oh my God, that's so unfair.
Wouldn't
Like,
that be nice?
what happened to the 10 years of pain?
Oh my gosh.
But the other thing is that at this stage of our lives is we've got everything coming to a crux. It's like all the birds come home to roost. If you've been working really hard, you're more likely to burn out at this age. You might have young children, you might have teenage children, even better. You might have, as you said, aging parents. Career might be at its peak. All those things are all at this one point in time, and
Mm.
we're still trying to juggle everything because we think we've got to be Wonder Woman. But let's face it, Wonder Woman didn't have children. She didn't have a real pressing job.
Yeah.
It's a different thing, but we're still trying to be everything.
Yeah.
Um, and this is the point in time when we actually have to start listening to our bodies. We have to start listening to our souls and saying, okay, it's
Mhm.
okay to take the foot off the accelerator and just start focusing on what I need myself.
I love that. Do you have any practical strategies for women who are in this moment of life? You know, what they should be thinking about, eating, not eating,
Yep.
doing, anything that would help.
Yeah. So a couple of things. Reducing caffeine.
Damn it. Don't you say wine next. Don't you say wine next.
Well, you know what? I have just found someone who does mid-strength wine,
Ooh,
and it's
okay.
really nice. I'm a red wine drinker,
Mm,
so
same.
Jen Pfeiffer, I get it through Naked Wine. So just a bit of a promo for Jen,
Ah,
because she did a lot of work to come up with a wine that actually tasted like wine, as opposed to
cool.
something that they add grape juice to. Ooh.
I know, well, I've
Um,
tried non-alcoholic
yeah,
wines and I'm like, this isn't what wine tastes like, so I don't like
no,
it. Yeah.
no, but this is. But
Cool.
so you're looking for alternatives. You're looking at, okay, well, how can I make small adjustments to my lifestyle that are going to make things better
Yes.
without me feeling like it's not worth living anymore?
Yes.